Definitely. Now, let's dig into a little bit of your affiliate marketing expertise. So, my first question is, what is the biggest mistake that you see people making as affiliate marketers? What is the one thing that you see over and over again and you think that's a really foolish move? You're just throwing money away.
Yeah, good question. So let me think. A couple of things you can do. So first thing is, I think a lot of people when they do affiliate marketing. So if I take YouTube as an example, because there's a lot of affiliate marketers on YouTube now, right? So people will focus on the tool, right? So the first thing is they'll say, get this tool and build all your funnels. Get this tool and build all your landing pages. Get this. But what does that actually mean to somebody who needs that tool? Well, nothing. It's just a tool, right? So I always say to people like, and this is what I always try to approach is like, what benefit is it going to be to them? So when you create your training or when you create your marketing, you want to think of like somebody who's going to see that for the first time is like, what do they need it for? And focus on that. Instead of focusing on the tool, focus on what they need it for. Now, the only time that I would focus on the tool, because we do it in 3 stages on YouTube. So we have the low hanging fruit, which is people searching for the tool and a review of it, right? Now,
Yeah.
those people obviously are looking for the tool because they already know about it. So for instance, if they were looking for Systeme.io, they're going to go Systeme.io review, right? Well, then I'm not going to come in and tell them why they need it at this stage because they already know they need it because that's what
Yep.
they've put in the search term, right? So it's kind of meeting people where they're at as well. So for that, I would say, right, you're looking for Systeme.io. Here's 5 things you can do with it. Here's my review. Here's what I think. Here's a link, right? Because that's what they've put in the search engine. But that's the low hanging fruit, right? Because that's where a lot of people go. And there's going to be a lot of people. That's going to be where your crowded market is as well. That's going to be where a lot of people are going to be pasting their videos. And that's not the best place to go. The best place to go is to go and start solving the problems, go and start helping them with things that they need. So I'll give you an example, for instance. Let's say, for instance, people always say, oh, will this get saturated? That's the biggest question I get asked is like, will this get saturated? And it will never get saturated because everything's searched for on Google, right? And the best example I give is that if I wanted to say, for instance, go and use System.io to build a funnel for a restaurant, a local restaurant, right? I could walk around every restaurant in the UK and they probably wouldn't have heard of your software because they're running a restaurant. They're not
Mhm.
interested in software. They're interested in running a restaurant, but they would need a funnel, right? So if I then go and start working out what restaurants are looking for on Google and YouTube to make more money to get their business open. I mean, we've had a pandemic, right? Restaurants are half full. So you would start looking at that. You would start going, how do I save my business? How do I not, you know, how to use System.io to create a restaurant business or to save your restaurant, because that's not what they're going to be searching for because they won't know about the product. But then we can bring people to, and obviously that way we open that up. So we get much bigger search for volumes. Most people are not in that area.
Yeah.
And yet all of these restaurants need that problem solved, right? So that's kind of the biggest problem. Most people go for the low hanging fruit where all the noise is,
Yeah.
and also not working out as well, like especially with again, I see a lot of people doing this. When people put in a search term, they will put fluff in that video that they don't need, right? For instance, going back to the System.io, like if somebody puts in System.io review and I give them a review, if I start fluffing it out with you can build this and you can do that and this, you can create this, you can create that. That's not really a review. That could be a tutorial, but somebody just wants to know what I think about it, right? That's really what they're looking at. They've already done all that. And if I start kind of not meeting them where they're at, they're going to be like, well, why? They'll probably just bounce away because they'll probably be thinking, well, actually, I just want to know what you think, and you're not giving me that. And I may have given that later on in the video anyway, but it's kind of keeping it concise and to the point. And I see a lot of videos where people will say, like, they'll spend 5 minutes telling you what they're going to do in the video, right? So they'll say for 5 minutes, they're going to say, in this video, I'm going to cover this. And in this video, I'm going to cover that. Right. And then you wonder why, like, nobody watches your video all the way through because, like, people, we have short attention spans, right? If somebody puts in a search term, we want to meet them where they're at. And there's a good resource actually for doing this. Eugene Schwartz wrote a book called Breakthrough Advertising, which if you get a real copy of it, I think it's about $2,000. It's like really expensive, but you can actually go and buy. I think you can buy a PDF or something, legitimate one, at a lot cheaper, but they have these kind of 5 stages of awareness, and it's meeting people where they're at. And I've learned so much from that, because if you don't meet people where they're at, then they're just going to leave, right?
Yeah.
So I think it would be like meeting people where they're at, and obviously opening up and solving problems and pain points that those people have, is probably the biggest mistake I see. Yeah. So I actually don't employ strategies on channel growth, funnily enough. So even though I have grown my channel, I think it's people find out about me and they come and follow. So my strategy is always ranking. And what that means is that obviously we're meeting people where they're at, where they're searching for, you know, for whatever it is they're searching for, but that's where we want the view. And I know there's a lot of strategies out there for growth and for growing big channels and for running ads. And I'll just share one thing, right? The reason we focus on that strategy, right, is if you get to 1,000 subscribers on your channel, right, and you get 4,000 hours to watch time, you're allowed to become a partner with Google, and they will let you run ads, right? And most of the strategies out there, most of the YouTube strategies out there teach this. And I'm actually against that, right? Because I'm not against it, but I just think it's a harder strategy, because I think what you've got to do here, we did a case study recently where somebody shared how much money she'd made from a video that had 1 million views. And there's kind of 2 ways to get 1 million views consistently on your videos. One is to have a massive channel with 1 million subscribers plus, which when you actually go and break that down, like how many people in your niche have got more than 1 million subscribers, there's probably about 10, 15, maybe 20.
Yeah.
So these are kind of the famous people in your niche, right? And to get there, you've got to be posting really consistently, thinking outside the box, coming up with new content, burning out in a lot of cases, right? So that's one way of doing it. And the other way is just to have a random video that goes viral, and there's no way to obviously plan for that, because you never know what's gonna work, right? So they're the 2 main ways. And she made $1,400 for a video. And I did a case study with one of my videos for a product I was promoting, a webinar product. And that product, we had 1,000 views, and we were getting 10 to 15 signups a day for the free trial. And we were getting around about a 20% retention. So once we had 7 sales, we'd made the same amount of money. And it's because obviously with 1,000 views, those are not views, those are buyers, because we were ranking for the term webinar jam trial. So we were ranking for the product for the trial, which meant that whoever landed on that video, quite often they wouldn't watch it. They would just click the link, right? We'd make sure the link was visible and they would click it. So we were making more money on that video